The city of Bellingham. The city we live in. Bellingham was officially incorporated into Whatcom County on December 8, 1903. We are named from the bay we thrive on, Bellingham Bay, an important body of water that holds life and secrets we may not typically see. Secrets that we'll be revealing to you in our epic journey into discovering dissolved oxygen and pH levels here in Bellingham Bay and Salish Sea region. For our project that focuses on the factors of urbanization upon our Bellingham Bay locations, we decided to prioritize dissolved oxygen and pH levels for a couple of reasons. Such reasons being that DO is the amount of oxygen that's present in water, and in this case, salty bay water. DO is an essential aspect to all marine life. An unusual change or decrease in DO, such as even below 4 milligrams per liter, as a result of polluted systems can cause fish mortality or death rate to rise. It can halt salmon reproduction and can even suffocate majority of other life that found in oxygen-poor areas. A healthy DO concentration in ocean water is typically between 7 and 8 milligrams per liter, and around a DO saturation of 80 to 120%. And on the other side, with pH, which is an expression of hydrogen-ion concentration that's present within water, or a scale that specifies the acidity or alkalinity of an aquatic solution, it's a naturally present aspect to our atmosphere and oceans that can change due to either polluted systems, an increased concentration of CO2 due to human or urban actions, and such pH changes can impact sensitive aquatic organisms, like shell builders, fish reproduction, and even create an increase in harmful algae that can decrease DO levels. With pH, a healthy level is around 6.5 to 8.0 pH. But first, what exactly is urbanization and the factors we are looking for in regards to our project in our area of study? Urbanization is the increase in the proportion of people living in towns and cities, like Bellingham. With our growth rate population since 2010 being 20.38%, with an increase overall with 16,567 people, there's a lot more people. Then, with said increase of people, there's a seen increase in transportation, recreational activities, electricity, and in consumption and then waste. And these increased factors that play certain roles within the relationship of what we're looking for: dissolved oxygen and pH levels. For all our testing at our various locations, Squalicum, the Marina, Glass Beach, and Larrabee, we believe that as a result with all the factors of urbanization, Squalicum and Glass Beach will show decreased DO levels and decreased pH levels, as an outcome of increased population within Bellingham, an increase in beach foot traffic, and within point source pollution. Okay. Hello! I'm Marley.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Gabe.
Today we are at Larrabee State. We will be investigating DO and pH.
And it's currently 1:30.
And it's about 66 degrees out. Nice and sunny. A few clouds.
Yep. Yeah.
That said, at our locations, the first couple of factors we were looking for was man-made litter or garbage on land and or around the water. The second point being, point source pollution. Point source pollution being any single identifiable source of pollution from which pollutants are discharged, with pipes, ditches, ships and factories, and sewage treatment plants. We were looking for railroads, factories, and other sewage effluent causes. Another factor was foot traffic, or the amount of activity each studied location got, which we later interviewed people asking their frequency at each location. With all those factors kept in mind, we went to each tested location with the additional and very much needed tools necessary to help support a hypothesis, like many DO testing tablets, many pH testing tablets, a collection and a waste cup, a handheld thermometer in degrees Celsius, and separate tubes for each DO and pH trial. Once we got to our locations, we first looked around for trash, garbage, or man-made remnants. We made note of the number of people there at each location and looked around for any point source pollution, like railways, businesses, and how full the parking lot was. After all of that, we tested and checked the water temperature in degrees Celsius. We then collected a small sample in a sterile collection cup, and then filled a small tube to the very tippy top before adding 2 DO testing tablets. We also filled another tube with about 10 milliliters to 20 milliliters of the same collected water, and dropped in 1 pH testing tablet. We shook the 2 tubes, the DO tablets needing longer to dissolve, an additional 5 minutes to rest before getting a proper color reading. After that, we looked at our DO or pH color matching sheet and took pictures of our results. We recorded our temperature, DO, and pH findings on our data table for each location. With that, we did 2 trials following the same steps at each of our 4 locations. From our methods in regards to our investigation, we documented a lot of man-made trash or garbage, and probable point source pollution from nearby industries, railroads, etc., and received data from some very helpful strangers about their activity and/or visits to each location within the last year. Such data was used for our concept of foot traffic or human activity playing a role within decreased DO and pH levels. Additionally, we also found that a number of people have been or reviewed our locations on Google Maps, which we also took into consideration in the grand scheme of things. Overall, our results from this investigation did support the first half of our hypothesis. After all, our observations, discoveries, real human responses, and averaging all of our data from all 4 locations, the 2 unhealthiest places were Squalicum Beach, which we were predicting, but on a much more surprising note, Larrabee State Park. We'll start off with what we got pretty accurate with our hypothesis. Just like we thought, Squalicum Beach did end up having the lower DO and pH levels. With an average DO of 4 milligrams per liter, a 43% DO saturation rate, and a pH of 6.75, such a low pH reading where potentially most of our shell builders can't build and/or maintain their calcium carbonate shells or skeletons, which means that as a result of our low pH, their shells and skeletons can start to sadly dissolve. Besides that, with our observations of urbanization, we were subject to a lot of litter or human remnants along the shore, graffiti, and point source pollution from Bellingham cold storage, and a still active railway at Squalicum Beach. So, overall, our relationship concept between urbanization, DO, and pH was witnessed at this location. However, where we thought that Glass Beach would also have decreased DO and pH levels, we were proved wrong. Although we saw a lot more trash, point source pollution, and other, unhealthy behaviors at Glass Beach, our test results had an average DO of 8 milligrams per liter, a 95% DO saturation rate, and a pH of 7.25. And according to these trials and tests of ours, Glass Beach overall was technically the healthiest location we tested. Then, with our next location, in 3rd place, our results from Bellingham Marina, where we were considering normal, were right at the cusp of what's considered healthy. Even with motor-controlled boats, nearby fishing and shipping facilities, our DO results averaged out to be around 6 milligrams per liter, an 80% DO saturation rate, and an average pH of 7 upon the scale. That being said, we were vastly surprised to see that Larrabee State Park was in 2nd place under Squalicum Beach for lowest DO and pH. Larrabee State Park had an average DO of 6 milligrams per liter, a 72% DO saturation rate, and a pH of 6.25, an even lower pH than our Squalicum average, but with similar, if not even unhealthier standards for our friendly shell builders. That said, overall, our findings support our hypothesis by demonstrating that there is a relationship between DO and pH in regards to varied factors of urbanization. Our studied locations, like Squalicum Beach, with observed peak point source pollution, human remnants, and foot traffic did indeed have both decreased DO and pH levels, but on the other hand, our findings can also combat our hypothesis, with the point being that even the most highly trafficked, point source polluted areas, like Glass Beach, can have normal or even healthy levels of both DO and pH. With everything said and done, we believe that we are mostly, if not pretty happy with our findings. We started off by wondering if what we did as people and the frequency of our activities and actions impacted our local beaches and bays. And that curiosity developed into how to measure that. How can we use such an ability to help us reflect upon our actions within our region? Such an ability we found within dissolved oxygen and pH levels. What they could tell us, what discoveries and secrets they have revealed to other researchers who pursued the same curiosity as ours. That being said, by the end of our investigation, we do have to admit to the shortcomings. The shortcomings of possible additional trials, more spread out locations, and more data into creating a metric of foot traffic or human activity. However, our findings reflect that what we were expecting, and for our hope for a surprise within the overall research project of ours. After all, our observations, discoveries, and surprises made our research project what it is. Our findings upon the relationship between dissolved oxygen and the pH levels found as they vary being a function of urbanization tell us that our DO and pH levels aren't where we want them to be. We found that the correlation between us and our beaches is a factor to consider, a reason to conserve, to study and even improve for future generations of us and of our marine life, which is a reason to continue this investigation, to expand locations, to collect more data from tests, increase observations, and to create a further dialogue with real individuals within our region. In the end, our epic journey into dissolved oxygen and pH levels here within Bellingham Bay in the Salish Sea region doesn't end here. Our work done and shown to you today isn't the end. It's not even close to the complete and whole picture of all the secrets our land withholds from us. But this journey, and our findings from Squalicum, the Marina, Glass Beach, and Larrabee State Park, is the beginning. The beginning of something larger than life and important to any living organism on land, sea, and sky.